We have been communicating actively with respect to sharing our thoughts. Why the current tax provisions can kill the industry, and I'll tell you why. Right. So there are various provisions, right, which were highlighted in the bill, right, which, like example being 1% TDS. Now, if you look at the consequences of that, right, the moment people start paying 1% TDS on every trade they make, that's essentially blocking. After you make like 100 trades, that's blocking most of the capital. Right, and that will not serve the purpose, right, and then it will create unnecessary accounting nightmare for the government, for the individuals, and that's not benefiting anyone, right. TDS is good. We believe every transaction should be tracked and every data should go to the government so that they can trace if people have filed their taxes currently. But just like this 1% TDS is going to have serious consequences, and it will dry down the trading activity, and ultimately who will suffer are the retail investors, because then they will have to pay X or 1% higher or X percentage higher for every crypto they purchase, right? So this is one example. Now, there are few clauses, and yesterday there was one like in terms of offsetting not allowed. Why would essentially these are tax provisions which are not good for the industry, and what will happen is when you have such onerous tax provisions, and when people read that, right, what essentially comes to their mind, okay, I will not, I will not invest in this, and people who are developing also, right, will say, okay, India is not progressive with respect to blockchain developments, and I cannot build a Web3 application. Let me shift my base and let me move to some other country where, countries like Dubai, Thailand, they are actually trying to make their country as a crypto hub by introducing favorable tax frameworks, right? And India on the other side, I think that is the difference. And how you look, what Neeraj was mentioning, how you look at this entire industry is something that needs to be thought through and discussed proactively. We are doing communication from our side with respect to sharing what the industry stake is. But I think same has to be mutual, and then that needs a deeper discussion. Every single point, right, that is coming on with respect to taxation, with respect to regulatory framework, that has to be thought through in consultation with the industry in depth, because the space is new and it requires deeper discussion so that we don't take any step which will be detrimental to the growth of the industry.
Are you fearing trading volumes drying down because of these repeated clarifications and taxation which is coming? And also, do you, there is also a view that the more you tax, the more you sort of have a negative narrative around it, it can just go underground and, become part of a dark web and become, in that sense, an invisible market which exists.
100%. I think people are, people want to pay taxes, right? But the moment you have such onerous provisions on taxes, there are two things that can happen, right? One is all of this trading activity can shift to international exchanges, which is not good for the nation, because then that would be difficult to trace, right? The second is it can also maybe shift to P2P platforms, which again is difficult. I think regulating the exchanges, regulating crypto platforms, right, and taking every data point, what every user is doing, right, I think that is a better transparent structure, right, which will benefit the country, which will benefit the government, the users, the industry as a whole, right? I think that is the right way to look at it. If, if the tax provisions are very high, I think that will lead to trading activity shifting outside, or, people or the development of the industry that will not happen in the country or might happen outside, which in the long term will not be beneficial, like in the, during the early stages of internet, right? When India did not have the right infrastructure, a lot of that, companies like Amazon, Google, they are not born out of India. But India has that potential. India is actually technology powerhouse. And if you create conducive regulatory framework, a lot of that development can actually happen from India, right? But what it needs is like positive, provisions in terms of policy, how you create soft touch regulations, and that is actually very important, because that will attract talent to work and do these innovations by being in the country, right? I think that is very important for the nation.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.